Is direct mail fundraising still impactful in 2025? And if that is a viable strategy that you might want to implement, we're going to go over our 5 best tips from our clients and what we've seen work so that you can optimize your direct mail campaigns. So in order to understand or ask the question, can direct mail campaigns work for my nonprofit? Is it worth it for us to even try? Like, they can be expensive, even if say they're less than $1. With stamps these days, I doubt it. But say they're less than $1 to send out, and you send out 1,000 of them. That's still a $1,000 expense that maybe you get some money back, maybe you don't. You can ask the question, well, if I got 3 or 4 $250 donations, then it was still worth it. So if you're trying to track just the monetary metric, is it making money? Am I bringing in revenue from this? That might not be the only question to ask, because there are a lot of people who may just learn a little bit about your organization just having seen that envelope, seen the story that you include. So in asking, is it effective? Does it work? We do want to look at revenue, but can we also ask about, does it have a meaningful touch point for our existing donor base? So the people who are already supporting us or who've already given, maybe they gave in an earlier appeal in the year, they gave online, they were an event attendee, they're paying on a pledge. Even if getting that piece of mail is nice for them to kind of see some updates, maybe you have some impact reports, maybe you have a story in there. Are those things worth it? And do your donors like getting those things? So that's something you can ask. The second thing is, are you increasing your visibility at all? Like, yes, maybe someone doesn't give, but they're like, oh, I had no idea that we had a shelter in town for animals. I didn't know that there was one right by my house or just down the road. Or next time I have this problem, I can refer someone to this charity. So there's some intangible or maybe secondary benefits to just the money that might work. And you might want to consider those as you're talking through, should we consider a direct mail campaign? When people are suggesting that you no longer send appeals in the mail, a lot of times they cite them as the least effective or the time for dollars worst way to raise money. We know that actually fundraising events are probably at the lowest, but this is pretty second to that. Like fundraising events, 50 cents on the dollar, direct mail, maybe even if it's optimized, maybe it's 30 cents. This data is often very much skewed one way or the other. For example, direct mail campaign to existing donors, people who know you already, is gonna have a much higher return than if you just purchase a mailing list. Like, oh, we just have this couple of zip codes that we know is a medium wealthy area, so we're gonna buy a mailing list, we're gonna send all of them because they have the money. Well, if they don't have connections to your organization, they may not necessarily want to give. They may not have an affinity or they don't know who you are. So depending on what segment, how many you send, do you A/B test things? There's a lot of different data you can get back on that, but still, even accounting for those discrepancies in data, we know that it's events as the most expensive thing at the bottom, can raise money, but it's the least best ROI. And then right above that is direct mail. Still might have a place. We know that one pro mail argument might be that it targets a specific age demographic. We know that maybe the greatest generation, which there's fewer of them than there are boomers left in 2025, but still the boomer population may be more used to getting things physically in the mail. And they like that, saying, computers are fine, I'm fine getting email solicited, but being online these days or opening up your email inbox is a flood of advertising. It's so saturated. People are desperate and pay thousands of dollars for your attention these days on social media, for email, ads on websites. So we're very digitally saturated with ads and information and solicitation. So maybe something in the mail, a little softer, a little more personalized perhaps, and maybe targets that older demographic. So if you're gonna do segmented mail, maybe you pick kind of an age group. Say, okay, we're gonna send it just to our donors, people who've given to us in the past, people who've given through mail in the past. So can we shrink that even more and say, we're gonna go just 55 plus. Not a perfect formula. There are plenty of people under 55 who would give through the mail, and there are plenty of people over 55 who wouldn't, but we can say on average, maybe it's better for people in that range. We have also seen, there's good data to support this as well, that direct mail as a whole has declined a little bit year after year. Pretty slowly in the decline, but still a decline. Last 10 years, it's been creeping down and creeping down. It seems like it still might be worth it if it's optimized, but that's again for your nonprofit to decide based on your program history, based on how many years you've been doing it, based on last year's return, the size of your donor base, all of these things. Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you're getting value out of this but would like something more personalized, you can book 30 minutes with one of our experts to see if you qualify for our support services. Link below in the description. So if you are gonna choose to do a direct mail campaign, we would recommend doing these 5 things to really max out your return. All right, tip for your direct mail, number 1. This will change more than maybe the rest of the 5 combined. So if you take nothing else away, definitely at least do this first tip. And it is personalization. Personalization. We know how different it is with Dear current resident versus Dear Jake. Incredibly different, and just in terms of like, oh, I feel like they're being addressed to me, or I feel like this person's talking to me. Anything that says Dear current resident to me or is addressed to the wrong name, I don't even open it. It goes right in the trash. And this is probably true for most people. Maybe some people open up all their mail, but we get the like, this is spam warning bells going off right away every time this happens. So very, very important to have Dear Jake at the top. I would say there's some ways that we can take this even further, and just from an anecdotal perspective, what we recommend for our clients that we sometimes will even see a 10x, yes, 10 times more back, is handwriting the outside address on the envelope, which takes forever. A lot of times we want to use volunteers, but instead of having it printed, having it handwritten. And then on the inside, even if we don't know the person, take a little sticky note and say like, hey Jake, hope you can join us in giving this year. And slap that sticky note in a handwritten note just right on top of the appeal. That alone, your open rate probably goes close to 100%. If you have something that's hand addressed to you from anybody and it's written in pen on the outside of an envelope, very likely you at least open the envelope. So at a minimum, your appeals are not getting thrown away. So that's huge. Second thing is, when you just get a form letter, they're like, oh, they sent this to 1,000 people, and I can kind of tell that, and it doesn't feel very personalized. They're just trying to get money, which not a bad thing. You're a charity, you should be trying to get money, but it doesn't feel very personalized to me. If I have this kind of non-personalized note, but it at least says Dear Jake at the top, and then there's a handwritten sticky note sitting on top of that that says, hope you can join us in giving this year. I'm like, wow, they took the time to at least stuff this. Like, let me do the minimum and read. Like, maybe that doesn't get me to give, but it takes me all the way to the point where I'll read the appeal. I'll see what you have to say at least. So personalizing it, just a couple of small optimizations that way really does go a long way in getting them to both open and read. Maybe give, maybe not, but let's at least get them that far. Number 2 is to tell a clear story with a before and an after. This is actually very key to a story. If I started the story that says, well, I went to the grocery store and then I just stopped there, everyone's like, right, you went to, then what? It's like, well, no, there's gotta be a before, during, and after. I went to the grocery store, I saw this crazy guy, he was running down the aisle, whatever happened at the grocery store, but there has to be a before, during, and an after, kind of a cause and effect. We can implement this storytelling structure to our appeal as well. The way we do this, kind of 3 segments. We start with the status quo. Right now, our animal shelter is full, or we don't have enough food to provide for all the dogs, the stray dogs in the area. I'm just using the animal shelter as an example. We are looking to raise $100,000 so that we can purchase this, and this, so that, and then the after, we will have enough kennels for all the dogs in the area. We're a no-kill shelter or whatever. You can kind of talk through the steps, but have a status quo. This is the present we're in now. This is the problem and solution we've kind of identified. Here's how we're gonna solve it. And then here's this new future that we imagine. And all we need is your contribution. So it's a specific before, during, and after. It's this compelling emotional story of how you can save these dogs or insert whatever charity cause you want here. But if you don't have that structure and you just say, we help animals, that's not specific enough to inspire action. You don't have to tell a crazy sob story, not a Sarah McLachlan commercial level of trying to get people to give, but you do need some kind of an impact of like, hey, if you give, this thing that is not currently happening will now happen. Incredibly compelling. Try that. Number 3, and again, this is one that people tend to mess up a lot. They get all the way to the finish line and they just stop. They get to the last mile of the marathon and they're like, you know what, that's probably enough. But what we want to do at the very end, we've gotten them to open the envelope because it was personalized. We've gotten them to read the sticky note. Okay, great. They read through the story. They feel touched. They want to support the animals in some way. Then what? We want some sort of very clear CTA, or call to action. We want a very clear CTA. Now, in most appeals, that is give. It might be give or volunteer, or you can support us in these ways, but the more you can narrow it and say, we want you to do this one specific thing, the better. So in the best case for this, say we're gonna ask for money, is we would love for you to consider a $500 contribution, because that would cover 2 kennels and food for 3 dogs for 4 weeks or whatever. Pick an amount that is challenging enough. Don't go with $5 or $25. Pick a dollar amount that's in the hundreds plus, and if they want to give less, they can, that has specific impact. And make it very clear what you're asking for. We want you to go online and give here, or use the return envelope, or whatever that you're asking them to do. It needs to be specific. As soon as I read the story, I feel compelled to act. What should I do? The envelope and the appeal itself should then show me and tell me what I should do. So clear call to action. All right, tip number 4. This is also a pretty easy one if you haven't done already, but make it frictionless to give. Make it super easy that, yes, I have the call to action. Now, how do I do the call to action? This thing you're asking me to do, how do you want me to do it? For example, do I put money in this return envelope and mail it back? If so, there should be a return envelope there that's prepaid, business reply mail that they can send it right back. No friction, they don't have to find a stamp. It's already addressed correctly. You just put your name up in the left-hand corner, check goes in there, you mail it right out. Alternatively, QR code. I would probably say recommend doing both. Put a QR code, you scan the QR code with your phone, takes you right to the organization's website, boom, right to the credit card screen. Again, some similar branding on the page so they can see it's part of the same appeal, but allows them to check out and then give that donation right away. In addition, maybe a web browser URL link. So if they don't know how to use a QR code, or they're like, I don't want to use a QR code, they can at least type your website into a web browser and go do it that way. There might be a phone number saying, hey, I don't really know how to give, or I don't want to send a check through the mail. Are there other options? Well, sure, you want to have your office line on there. So whatever that CTA is, you want to have a couple different options, so when they feel inspired to do that thing, they then have a frictionless experience to then give you the money, or do the action, or sign up to volunteer. Whatever that CTA is, you want to make it super easy for them to do that. All right, and tip number 5, I'm calling this one a little bit of a bonus tip, because you're like, well, it seems like we've gone through the whole continuum of them opening the letter and responding back, like, how could I possibly optimize it even more? And that is in the follow-up. It's in the follow-up. There's so many charities, they send out all these letters, they get a bunch of money back, and they go, we did it, that was the end. I'm so glad that we don't get to do anything for the next 9 months until we send the next letter. This is the wrong approach. Very much so. As soon as you start getting those envelopes back, you get those donations as a result of the letter, you want to reach out and thank individually every single person who gave, especially if they're a first-time donor. Most charities don't do this, so you might really surprise people. When you call someone and say, hey, just wanted to say we're really thankful for that contribution that you gave. They'll be like, oh, you don't need anything? You just like, yep, just calling to say thank you, that's it. If you do that, you'll put yourself in that top, 2-3% of charities who actually do that, and set yourself way, way above everybody who's not participating and optimizing in that way. So as soon as you start getting those back, and you should be ready for this, you send out the mail appeal, maybe it's got an email version that goes with, maybe a post on social media to a company, however you want to optimize it is fine. But as you start to get revenue back in from that, you want to start calling and seeing what relationships you can begin to build and foster as a result of doing that direct mail campaign. So we think about this, yes, it's a great way to interact with people. Again, it's a great way to build awareness, as we talked about, but really we're looking at this as a donor pipeline building mechanism. It's kind of a donor pipeline building mechanism. This is a way to capture people and bring them into the fold so that hopefully they're a one-time donor. Maybe it's an entry-level gift, a couple $100 here. Maybe it's $1,000, still considered an entry-level gift in many organizations. But then we as the development staff or the foundation team or whomever can go and talk to those donors, build relationships, see about why they give, ask them why they give. And then from there, hopefully transition into a longer donor relationship. So maybe you want to use direct mail, maybe you don't. Still pretty viable in 2025 in most cases, especially if you do it right. But stay tuned. If it ever gets to the point where it's totally not worth it, and maybe we're headed that way with a totally digital AI world, we'll let you know, but you have to subscribe to find out. Is your nonprofit struggling to reach its fundraising goals? You can chat with one of our experts live for free at pridephilanthropy.com or by clicking the link in the video description.